Alrighty, you guys already know the deal. It is the Two Cool Brothers podcast. Are y'all bored yet? Y'all still having fun with this quarantine? Fuck no, you're not. And that's why you're listening to this podcast. If there's one thing that you can rely on is the fact that the Two Cool Brothers podcast will always be here for you and make sure to switch things up a bit. So far, nothing. Well, there's some things to report. Number one is a boat with about 1,400 people on it. That's just floating in the middle of the ocean. Don't know which one. Probably Atlantic, if I had to guess, because it's pretty close to Florida. So that's happening. I kind of don't want to talk about any Corona news at all because I feel like you guys kind of get all that. Granted, I did put in some effort to try to find you guys something that's a little bit different than what you've been hearing. No Trump news, no White House press conference regurgitating. Just some cool shit that we can joke about, you know? And also, you know what, how about this? Here's an ass-eating story. How about that? So there's a podcast going on that has just been started by another open micer, or actually he's a legit comic. His name is Kenny Weber. I'm pretty sure he's verified on Instagram now. So that's the symbol right there. And what he's doing is just a podcast pretty much like this with his buddies, just kicking it. But he did post his phone number so where you can go ahead and call him and leave him a message. He'll play it on the show, and he may even call you back on the show. Look up It's Kenny Weber on Instagram, or Kenny Weber. That's 1B. Weber with 1B. But anyway, so I called that hotline and left a voicemail. And the voicemail that I had left was a story about the time an old girlfriend of mine had eaten my ass for the first time. And it's pretty straightforward, the story. Basically, I never had my ass eaten before up to that point. And the girl that I was with was kind of very dark humored and always wanted to talk about putting things in my butt. And to the point where I just asked, like, if she wants. I looked her in the eye like, do you just want to eat my ass? Because if you're shy, you know, I'll let you do it. I heard some guys like it. You know, I heard a lot of guys like it, actually. Ass eating is a meme now, basically. So she's like, jokingly, kind of serious, telling me she's down. So one night, we come home, drunk. I just washed my ass the night before, the day of. We'll see. It might have been a little gamey. But she tells me to get on the bed and lift my legs up, and I already know what she's going to do, so I just let her do her thing. And she went surfing. If I got to say, she went surfing. But not my thing. Found out the hard way. Do not like getting my ass eaten. It's kind of like overrated. Like, I feel like getting your ass eaten, just a G-spot in general. I don't think there's any G-spot in a dude's ass. I think that's just been instilled in our brains. And I think that's a rumor. This is a theory. But I think that was a rumor perpetuated by gay dudes trying to fuck straight dudes. I'm looking at you, Joe Exotic. But I think that's where it came from. I think society just agreed that there was a G-spot. And I don't really think there is because I didn't feel nothing pleasurable. A little bit, I guess. Like, but nothing, like, yeah, like, all right, any guy watching this, you've had your dick sucked. And that makes your whole fucking day. Possibly your whole month if you get your dick sucked. Ass eating was not even close. That was probably the most memorable thing of the day, but it probably was not the best part of my night, for sure. I didn't like that when I put my boxers back on. I had gray boxers on. They just had a bunch of lipstick on them when I took them off on my butthole area. But basically, me and the girl, I had told her that. She asked me, and I told her that I'm not into it. You know, but I only did it because she's into it. And if she wants to do it again, I mean, I'm not against it. I just, you know, it's not my choice. That sounds so bad. But what she said was that she wanted to do it because she thought that I would like it. She's not into eating ass, despite all the humor that she was putting out there. That's not her thing. She just knows that guys like it, I guess. But yeah, so it's funny. We both realized that we were both doing this thing to try to please the other person. So if you can draw anything from this ass eating story, you know, communicate. Also, be open sexually. If it's not gonna risk any bodily injury, just go for it. Fuck it. Why not? Try some shit, or literally try some shit if that's what you're into. But I called the hotline, and that was the story I left. Now, unfortunately, I was so blown when I made that phone call that I was just incoherent the whole fucking story. And that kind of sucks. And then also, I got to the end of it, but didn't finish the story necessarily. And it just cut me off at like 4 minutes. I'm like, damn, that story did not need to be 4 minutes. This podcast is right now is barely 5.5. So that's why I cooled off a little bit before recording this one. I don't think it's a good idea to smoke weed before a podcast. I don't think it's a good idea to smoke weed before you do any speaking engagements or any duty where you have to communicate with somebody or display charisma, personality, or tell a story by any means. It clouds your memory, or at least it does for me. I've seen some dudes do some amazing things after smoking. I mean, I've seen like athletes, for sure in school, playing sports, everyone was high all the time. A lot of us were drunk and performed excellently, just performed. Even at work, people are still able to do their job, and it blows my mind, but that's just, they'd rather be that way. And it's not a knockout on them at all. It's just like, that's, you're getting your shit done, and you're obviously enjoying it way more than I am if you're faded. But I can't do it. Even right now, I'm still kind of getting the residual effects. So, yeah, I'm not going to be smoking weed before any of these podcasts. During, different story, because that means there's someone else here. We can bounce off of each other. And also, if I get Snoop on the podcast, I'm never going to turn down an opportunity to smoke with Snoop. That's standard. That's standard for sure. But that was the voicemail that I left on that podcast. And they're comedians, and they're very good. In fact, that Kenny Weber in particular, I do have this one memory where we were both on the open mic circuit in Orange County, California. And the open mic circuit, you can see yourself doing 3 mics a night. And on this one particular night, we were performing at an open mic in Huntington Beach. And he was going on after me. And I forgot what I said. He knew that he was going after me, which is funny. So he was kind of building his material, his intro. The first thing he says was kind of going to be reflecting off of me. And a bit that I had, I forgot how the bit goes, but basically one of the lines that I say during it is, you ever just feel like killing yourself? It was not how I started the bit. It probably was worse than that, to be honest. But that was a main thing to grab the crowd's attention into my material was, you ever feel like killing yourself? If I felt like that was the good thing that was going to keep their attention, and then bam, bam, bam. He comes up on stage and then says, I feel so bad because now I gotta say this after you said that thing about wanting to kill yourself. And then he said something about it was something along the lines of, I think that joke was inspired by your barber who had killed himself 2/3 of the way through your haircut. And I've been rocking this haircut for a while. I got the long hair. This stays, and I only cut the sides. Something along those lines, but damn. That's the memory I have of that dude. He's a funny ass guy. He's a legit comic. He's got the goods. So I'm super excited about this podcast. And also he has some Instagram TV show. He might even have a couple of them. One of them is Blalex Jones, where he's Black Alex Jones, and it's pretty fucking hilarious too. Cool ass dude overall. I don't really know him that. We never really got close. I kind of disappeared from the open mic scene in Orange County after my car accident, but it's cool. I still try to make sure that I support those dudes as much as I can and try to put out my own content. Hopefully they fucks with it too and share with it. That's the biggest thing for a content creator is whenever someone shares your work and blasts it out. That's that. I would rather have that than getting my ass eaten for sure. That's on the tier of orgasm. Sharing my content, ass eating. Out of the frame. That shit's awesome. So, yeah, look them up. Leave a voicemail. If you got an ass-eating story, I'd love to hear it. That's going to be on the next episode. He's going to be playing those voicemails, and he may give you a call back. So, if you got a better ass-eating story, let me know. I mean, if you're into it, I want to hear about that stuff too, to be honest. Ass-eating became just a huge meme the past decade. Where it's like, it's part of pop culture. It's part of our vocabulary is eating ass. It's a punchline now. Eating ass. What are you doing? Eating ass. So how was your day? Oh, I ate some ass. Like, that's an answer that I feel like you wouldn't have had just 2009, 2010, back when Kobe was still playing basketball, winning championships. That's funny how that works. You know, phrases and words and trends that catch on in our vocabulary. I don't mean to sound like a smart ass or a genius or anything, but it just tripped me out right now. That I wonder what we're going to have in the next 10 years. Like, what's going to be the slang that we're going to have in 10 years? You guys remember saying, like, all right, maybe it might have just been me because I'm a lame ass, but the word swag, how swagger was heavily in our vernacular. Swagger. It's like 10 years ago, swag was today's savage. Like, I got swag, oh, I'm savage. Everyone's a savage now. Back then, everyone had swag, and now everybody's a savage and eats ass. They savagely eat ass is what's going on today. But back in the day, man, that's literally my high school quote. You know, your senior quote, or that they're going to have in the very last yearbook in your senior year, that's right under your picture. Swag, period. Not the word period, just swag and a period. You don't even need to put, like, exclamation point period or nothing. I just thought swag, period, and that's it. I think I perfectly captured the decade. I think I kind of was always meant to do something in entertainment. Because just dumb shit like that. Always my goal to make people laugh. And that's the reason for this podcast, too. So, with that being said, time to get to the serious part of this podcast. If you're still fucking with it, I got some pretty cool little news bites that I'd like to share with you. Not too many. If you follow me on Instagram, JamesChavez9, you got a little preview of them. But let's dive right into this booklet of facts right here. Number one, that cruise ship. So there was a luxury cruise ship that was supposed to go on a cruise through South America. And it's supposed to be a 21-day cruise, I believe. 20 or 21-day cruise. But back when, this is before coronavirus started to pick up. And ports were starting to close. So the country that they were supposed to go through was no longer allowing them access. So they were all kind of just stranded on the ship. And by the way, this ship has thousands of people. There's two ships, actually. Thousands of people on the ships combined in terms of passengers and crew. So they're trying to figure out a place to dock, and they've been at sea for, let's see, today's date's the 31st. They've been at sea now for about 3 weeks, maybe a little longer, going on 4 weeks now, going on a whole last month, just on that ship. And luckily, they were planning to be there for almost a month anyway, so they have enough food and supplies, and they've actually been eating luxury meals that are on the house. However, they're not allowed to leave their rooms. I don't know what the restroom policy is, but it's consensus for everything I read is they're not allowed to leave the rooms. So of the two ships, one of the ships is being used to house the healthy. Unfortunately, some of the passengers on one of the ships had caught the coronavirus, COVID-19. So what they did was they got all the passengers that appeared to be healthy and put them on the bigger ship, leaving everyone that they don't necessarily have room for or is showing symptoms or just has the coronavirus on the other ship. Now, they're pretty close to Florida. They got passage to Panama, and Panama said no more ships after that. That was just as a humanitarian effort to let our ships through. Or they're not even our ships. Check that out. They want to stop by Florida, which is a good idea, you know? Just get them off the boat. They've been on that boat forever. On top of that, all that air that's circulating between those people that are sick, it's going to infect the other people. We got to treat them now. Well, that's just my opinion. They said that there is, 190 sick passengers on that second ship. There's a total of a little bit over 1,000, exactly 1,052 people. That includes passengers and staff, and almost 20% of them are sick. And they're saying at least four of them definitely have the coronavirus. And they're on a ship. They're basically on a floating hotel room. Florida, however, doesn't want to take them in. Governor Ron DeSantis is an asshole, in my opinion. He stated that they have so few resources that they shouldn't use them on people that aren't even Floridians, people from Florida. And a majority of the passengers and crew on that ship are not United States citizens. I believe only 300 of the passengers are United States citizens. That's kind of fucked up. So you're telling me if they were born in Florida, in buttfuck Florida, you would have them docked and not be stranded in the stinky ass ship? I'm assuming that ship smells like shit. You got sick people breathing all over each other. Man. Also, it's Florida, my guy. Like, you guys literally had an orgy on the beach like a week ago. And you guys didn't shut that down. No beaches were shut down. Nothing. And yet we can't have these people. Just bring them in, bring them in, dock them. Go have them stand 6 feet apart in the sand. Bury them in the sand. Keep their heads above the sand, Something. It just seems kind of... Oh, I almost said the R word. I got to get rid of that out of my vocabulary. But it seems kind of R word that we just can't bring them onto land. I don't want to bore you guys with it. Ultimately, I want to find humor in this shit. I think that they should just invade us. They should just go invade Florida. Just, what are they going to do? They're going to shoot at the boat? How are you going to stop a huge-ass cruise ship? Are you going to put, landmines, like it's Battleship or something? Just go. Just dock, Is someone in the parking spot? Just dock. Just go ahead and just pull up. And also, you don't need to go park in that parking spot. If you go towards the sand, your ship will stop eventually. And then you just have a little short swim, just keep swimming, Put the life rafts for people that can't swim, leave the people who are infected on the boat. Let them out the room. That being said, get all the people who don't look symptomatic, send up some doctors in hazmat suits up there. Be like, you're perfect health. Bam. You're down. Bam, you're down. Bam, you're down. Oh, you look like shit. Go in the far back and stay in your room until we're all out. After that, this entire ship is yours. Your room, his room, our room, the kitchen. Have all that until we figure it out for the next 2 weeks. Quarantine in that lobster. That's the move. But, I'm not a governor of Florida and I don't plan to be, so we're going to move on. In other news, fuck those cruise ships. They might not be getting any of the stimulus package that Congress had passed. The reason being is because a lot of those, or all of them, are not based out of the United States. They registered their business out of state for tax purposes and for financial reasons. They want to be bailed out by us, but hey, you should have thought of that when you decided to choose the other countries as to where you're going to host your country. By the way, I thought this is funny that Royal Caribbean is based out of Liberia. I don't know where Liberia is. I have a general idea, but I don't know if I would consider that part of the Caribbean. And I hope that Liberians right now are not screaming at me in anger. I hope I'm not wrong. But I'm pretty sure that Liberia is not the first country that comes up when you think of the Caribbean. When you think of Rihanna, do you think Rihanna's from Liberia? No. I don't even know of anyone that's from Liberia, famous pop culture, sports. I don't know much about Liberia. I like saying it though. Liberia. It feels like I'm liberating my vocabulary. But yeah, fuck Royal Caribbean. There's another one that is Carnival. They're based out of Panama. And Panama's pretty lax when it comes to tax. So it's a good choice for them until you get the coronavirus on your ship and now you're ship out of luck. And then the funniest one that I saw was, there was one particular one that just blew my mind. But it blew me so hard that I forgot it. So we're going to move on. Other news, the NCAA college sports has decided to give student athletes another year of eligibility but for spring sports only. That means if you are a senior and you play baseball, golf, tennis, men's volleyball, water polo, beach volleyball, then you will be able to have another year of eligibility. Meaning, if you're a senior and this was your last year and got cut short because of Corona, you can come back next year and play. It doesn't just go to seniors, though. They've also expanded the eligibility for all student athletes. And in fact, they've even expanded the roster limit, the amount of people you're allowed to have on each team, to accommodate for this. So that's kind of cool. You know, the NCAA is such a scam. Think about how much money they make off these students, and the students don't see a dime of it. Not a dime. Nothing. Remember when Tim Tebow was huge? All the Tim Tebow jerseys that were bought for Florida? He didn't see one penny of that. Think of that. Think of your favorite athlete. Basketball, football, baseball, whatever. Think of whatever college and how many jerseys they must have sold in college. The players don't even see a dime of that. Not even after they graduate. So, they kind of owed them. I'm on fire with my shit talk today, man. I got a lot of deep anger on me. I'm addicted to Diet Coke. I got a 2-liter right here just ready to go. That's what this quarantine's more or less done to me. Is now I'm addicted to berry punch and Diet Coke. Not beer so much. I'm already out of that phase of alcoholism during the quarantine. It's just now I get slower, I noticed. I'd rather just be on top of it. I'd rather have caffeine, to be honest, or some Diet Coke, you know? Unfortunately, this Diet Coke is caffeine free. No sugar, no calories. Oh, no, they still got the caffeine in there. Fuck yeah. Caffeine free Diet Coke is scary because if they're taking out the caffeine, what are they putting back in it? That's crazy. Or even aspartame free soda. Remember that? When Diet Pepsi had no aspartame? It was like, what the fuck were they putting in it then? Aspartame is terrible for your brain. It's going to leave holes in your brain, allegedly. But now I'm a Coke addict. So, moving on. I'm also hungry as fuck. That's probably another reason why I'm on fire with the shit talk. What else do I hate? Who else wants to smoke? Oh yeah, Hobby Lobby. Fuck Hobby Lobby. So Hobby Lobby apparently was open this whole time under the guise of being an essential business, and they fell for that shit so hard. The CEO literally sent out a letter, which you can find on my Instagram, at JamesChavez9, motherfuckers, where they basically said God got us. God wants us to be open to sell yarn and Elmer's glue, whatever the fuck they sell at the Hobby Lobby, you know? And so putting the employees at risk. On top of that, they let go a bunch of them. Cut a bunch of them, just fired a bunch of them right now. Now that states and counties are mandating that they have to close. So, fuck Hobby Lobby. You kind of just gloss over my Instagram for the better printed out version of these news bits. Also, if you'd like. I kind of just want to rush through this because the longer the video, unfortunately, the longer the upload, the more space it takes. It's harder to cut out clips. I'm very low tech. I'm not a producer. I don't have any production skills at all. These are all just one take, one go, just straight uploads. But if anyone wants to help me out on the free, shoot a message, please. The Tokyo Olympics has been delayed officially by 1 year. The 33 major sports at the Olympics had decided to vote for that. And the official date of the start of the Olympics will now be July 23rd, 2021. Still be in Tokyo. So it'll be running from July 23rd to August 8th of 2021. Which is, I think the Olympics are just kind of dumb, right? I mean, we're pitting up other countries against each other in sport. I guess it's kind of cool because, like, there might be some pockets of the world that are really good at raising certain, like wrestlers, like the best wrestlers from the United States, Iran, Russia, China. That's kind of cool because those countries are really well known for just breeding specimens and great wrestlers with great techniques. So that's kind of cool. Cuba too. So that's pretty awesome. But for the most part, like, there's so many sports that we don't need. I feel like we can kind of shorten the cost of the Olympics by, like, holding some of these sports in, like, a gym somewhere, like a YMCA, like croquet. I'm not sure if that's a real sport, but it sounds like it would be a bullshit one up there. We need like fighting. I think fighting should be an Olympic sport, like MMA. The best from America, best from everywhere. That would be cool. Kind of like Mortal Kombat in a sense, or a Street Fighter. That would be dope as fuck. Better yet, sword fights, actual sword fights to the death. That'd be fucking cool, man. I mean, basically throughout the rest of the season, we cause wars with each other. Anyways, might as well just cut to the chase. Bam. Solve disputes like that too. Hit me up, Trump. So fuck the Olympics. And also, I got two more. I'm really trying to speed through this guy. No longer royal. The former royal couple, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Somebody correct me on that. No longer part of the royal family. I only wrote this in the news because I'm thinking of turning that into a sitcom. Imagine. To fill you in, they had decided to move to the United States and start a family over there. And by doing so, they chose to resign from their duties as members of the royal family. So certain events that they would have to do, certain protocols that they would have to follow, no longer applies to them. They want to live their best life and raise their kid as best as they can in the neighborhood that they enjoy, not have to do all that extra whoop-de-whoop, deal with the tabloids and all that. And also, the royal family, they don't have like any political powers at all. The UK has a prime minister and they have a whole parliament. So it's kind of, they're basically the Kardashians of England now. Now, the royal family did not take that well at all, and they deleted them from like social media. They've shaded them. They've shown that they clearly resent this idea. Now, my genius idea for a sitcom would be if, as they're about to leave, about to fly off to Hoboken, New Jersey, or wherever they're going to live, coronavirus hits, and they have to quarantine themselves in the castle with the rest of the royal family for a month. Hilarity ensues. That'll be dope. Also, someone gets murdered, and they got to solve that too. That's my idea for that sitcom. Don't think it's gonna go anywhere. And also, we have coronavirus now, so I don't really see that as a production that's gonna be in the works anytime soon. It's not all cheerful on this podcast, guys, and now you know that. But also, fuck the royal family. I hope the FBI don't hear that. If they do, fuck them too. This also, the director of the CDC. Not sure if that's his official title, but you guys know what I mean. He did a short little interview over the weekend. He's been kind of avoiding the press. The CDC as a whole has not been calling any press conferences or press releases in quite a while. It's been about a couple weeks or so. Meanwhile, Trump is basically holding a press conference damn near every day in relation to the coronavirus. In fact, the experts on stage with him are not from the CDC. They're from the WHO, the World Health Organization. But, I mean, I get it. I mean, the CDC is based out of Atlanta. They're not going to send their best guys up there to speak to Washington, D.C. every day, especially when they're the ones saying, don't be traveling right now. Social distance yourself. So I can see why they're not at the press conferences in D.C. It makes perfect sense. But that being said, the director did agree to an interview, and you can catch a good snippet of that on Google. Just kidding. My Instagram at JamesChavez9. It is on the grid. I put like 9 screenshots of articles from reputable sources that you can go ahead and just read through. They're basically the cliff notes of the news, and they're a little different than what you might typically be finding. And I made it easy enough, readable enough, digestible enough that you'll enjoy setting your eyes on that part of your screen. Besides that, I'm kind of over this podcast. I'm going to go on Instagram Live. I'm trying to find people to go on live with so I can go ahead and do this podcast where I can get comments on, get some feedback on, and also just talk to somebody. Because of social distancing, basically all I got here is Bill, and he's busy. That sounds like bullshit. That's the funny thing about this quarantine is, people are not busy at all. Yeah, you really got to get creative now with your lives when you don't reply or if someone needs you or like why you didn't respond. If anyone presses you for that information, you really got to get creative now. But no, he's just laxing in his room right now. And probably will be for the rest of however long we're in this situation. Remember, we're in this together. Follow me on Instagram for that booty boot camp. I will be doing more of those because they're fun as fuck. And also, I got a good sweat going and my calves are looking nice. I feel more powerful. I got a fucked up ankle still, but damn, my calves are supporting me for sure. All right. That being said, thank you guys for listening to the coolest podcast in the world. Have a good one.